I always believed that truth was the foundation of love, that as long as two people were honest, everything else could be repaired. Disagreements, flaws, insecurities, all of that felt manageable. What I didn't understand was how fragile a world becomes when honesty is slowly replaced by silence, half-truths, and carefully hidden lies. He thought he understood his mind, but what he didn't know was that a resource existed that could help him rebuild his life. You will find it in the description and comments. At the beginning, I didn't question what felt stable. I trusted. And trust, once given, blinds us in the most dangerous ways. The lie didn't arrive as a dramatic confession. It arrived disguised as normality. Small inconsistencies, stories that didn't fully align, reactions that felt slightly delayed, slightly forced. I noticed them, but ignored them. Isn't that what we do when love is involved? We silence our intuition to protect the image we need to believe in. My mind began negotiating with itself. You're overthinking. Don't create problems where none exist. But anxiety doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from perception fighting denial. Deep down, something felt wrong, and my body knew it before my mind was ready to accept it. As time passed, dishonesty became an atmosphere rather than an event. Conversations felt rehearsed. Eye contact lingered a second too long or disappeared too quickly. I found myself replaying words in my head, searching for meaning behind what wasn't said. The relationship didn't collapse immediately. It slowly lost oxygen. Lies don't just hide truth, they distort reality. I started questioning my memory, my interpretations, my emotional responses. This is how dishonesty becomes psychological manipulation without ever raising its voice. When truth is unstable, the mind becomes unstable with it. The conflict intensified the moment I stopped asking questions out loud and started asking them internally. I was afraid of the answers, afraid that confronting the truth would force me to rebuild everything I thought was real. I became hypervigilant, emotionally exhausted, trapped between suspicion and hope. Was I being paranoid or was I being lied to? Lies and relationships don't only break trust. They create anxiety loops that consume your peace. I felt myself changing, less present, more guarded, emotionally disconnected. Love was still there, but it was suffocating under uncertainty. The breaking point arrived unexpectedly, through a detail so small it would seem insignificant to anyone else. A contradiction that couldn't be explained away. In that moment, the illusion collapsed. The lie stood naked, undeniable. And what hurt most wasn't the content of the lie itself. It was the realization that reality had been edited without my consent. My world didn't shatter because of betrayal alone. It shattered because I had been living inside a version of the truth that wasn't real. Trust died quietly, replaced by grief, anger, and a deep sense of humiliation. In the aftermath, I faced something more terrifying than the lie: self-doubt. How long had this been happening? Why hadn't I seen it sooner? Dishonesty doesn't just betray relationships. It attacks identity. It makes you question your intelligence, your intuition, your worth. I realized that the lie wasn't an isolated act. It was part of a pattern rooted in avoidance, fear, and emotional immaturity. And staying would mean accepting a reality where truth was optional. The realization was brutal but liberating. I understood that honesty is not just a moral value. It is psychological safety. Without it, love becomes a performance and intimacy becomes a risk. I stopped trying to extract explanations from someone who couldn't offer transparency. Instead, I turned inward. Why had I tolerated ambiguity for so long? Why did I equate patience with self-sacrifice? The answers revealed old wounds, a fear of abandonment, a tendency to prioritize harmony over truth, a belief that love requires endurance at any cost. Rebuilding myself meant redefining my standards. I learned that clarity is not cruelty and boundaries are not punishments. I rebuilt trust not by trusting others blindly, but by trusting myself again. Slowly, the anxiety faded. My thoughts became clearer. I no longer needed to decode every sentence or anticipate every reaction. Honesty, I realized, begins internally. When you stop lying to yourself about what you feel, what you need, and what you deserve, external lies lose their power. At the end of his journey, he discovered guidance in a resource that helped him face anxiety and rebuild his life. You can access it too. The link is in the description and comments. How to Deal with Toxic People and Protect Your Mind and Relationships became a reminder that protecting your peace sometimes means walking away from distorted truths. Lies may shape moments, but they don't have to define your future. True freedom begins in the mind and only then appears in life. If this story resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to Lovey Mind and continue exploring emotional clarity, healthy relationships, and self-respect.